Coming to paperback and e-readers, E-Steam Cancel Vacation. Hell's aspiring angel takes on a social justice social media mob looking to cancel her in this all-new E-Steam series adventure. Pre-order E-Steam Cancel Vacation on Amazon.com today. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, Samurai Goddess. The goddess next door takes on kung fu killers in this action-packed martial arts Isis series adventure. Get Isis, Samurai Goddess in paperback and e-readers today. Last weekend, Warner Brothers' The Suicide Squad wound up flopping at the box office. Now, The Suicide Squad was expected to do at least a $30 to $35 million opening weekend. Unfortunately, it wound up only doing a $26 million opening weekend. Now, The Suicide Squad was heavily favored by Warner Brothers to open strongly because it was hyped up by many comic fans, and it had director James Gunn from the MCU's Guardians of the Galaxy films attached to it. Unfortunately, it wound up opening soft at the box office, and some are speculating that the pandemic was one of the reasons why many wound up staying home at the box office. And some extremists have even speculated that the unjabbed were some of the people that led to the failure of the box office. However, I don't believe that at all. While I do believe that some people did stay home because they were afraid of the Delta variant, others, I believe, wound up staying home because the film was readily available in August on HBO Max. Now, August is a very slow month for movies, and movie studios oftentimes, even in a time of extremely healthy economies, wind up trying to avoid releasing movies in August. And the reason why many movie studios always try to avoid releasing movies in August is because most people's primary focus is not going to someplace to relax like the movies. No, most people are focused on school because down south right now, most of the public schools are open, and even some of the Catholic schools are open. So a large group of the youth that would be out and about in the summertime are now focused on their classes, and many college kids are prepping to return to the universities and college later in the month. So people's focuses are not really on movies in August. So most studios, what they do in August is usually take out the garbage and dump most of their trash movies that they know are going to fail, in the hopes of pulling some sort of profit or some sort of fluke success out of one of the fairly better movies that they wound up greenlighting over the course of a fiscal year. So again, Hollywood has always had a soft month in August, and they never really released their A movies during that month. So that's one of the reasons why Suicide Squad probably performed so poorly. Now, the other reason why the Suicide Squad possibly wound up performing extremely poorly could be that many people wound up staying home and watching it like I did on HBO Max. Now, The Suicide Squad was made available in theaters and HBO Max the same day, and with the price of a movie ticket being extremely high these days, as high as $20 in some parts of the country, many people probably looked at HBO Max, which was only $14.99, and saw it as a better deal. Because if you have a family of 4 that are out here, that $15 to $20 a ticket easily becomes $100, plus you add snacks like popcorn and chips, unless you can find a way to sneak it in a bag or something. Then you're talking about at least a $200 for one movie, and people just really thought about it and said, hey, why should I spend $200 at a movie theater and have to deal with all sorts of hassles, like in some parts of the country, like these vaccination passes and these vaccination apps and ID cards, when you can just go out here, buy one HBO Max subscription for $15, get your snacks at home, and not only be able to watch The Suicide Squad, but also be able to watch Space Jam for that same $15. And over the course of a month, that $15 will earn out because oftentimes HBO Max has other movies that you want to watch, and they also have other TV shows that you want to take a look at. So the cost of an HBO Max subscription winds up paying for itself in the long run because you have access to far more content than you would if you went out here and just bought a movie ticket. Because that was another one of the reasons why I chose to just get the HBO Max subscription just for the month of August to watch not only The Suicide Squad, but I also watched Batman Escape from Arkham, and I was planning on watching other films. And I remember the month before I had watched Kong vs. Godzilla. I not only watched that movie, but I also watched Deathstroke's Knights and Dragons. I watched two classic movies, A Patch of Blue with Sidney Poitier and Elizabeth Taylor's Butterfield 8, and a lot of other animated series that I hadn't watched in years, like The Batman and Batman Beyond, and many other animated shows that I hadn't seen in years. So I was getting far more entertainment value per dollar by going out here and watching HBO Max than I would be going to the movie theater. And that's probably what many people went out here and did instead, because they were looking at their economic situation and realizing, yeah, I would love to go to the movies and see a movie in the theater, but it's just a whole lot cheaper to go get this HBO Max subscription for a month and then watch not only the movie I want to watch that's brand new, but also be able to watch other content that I haven't seen in years, or see series that I can only see exclusively on HBO Max. So a lot of people are speculating things about the Suicide Squad failing, but I believe the main reason is because of August being an extremely soft month, because when we look at Kong vs. Godzilla, which came out earlier in the year, that movie also, I believe, premiered on HBO Max as well, but that movie also went on to become a blockbuster hit, and this was during the busy period in the pandemic when numbers were extremely high. So people did go out and go to the theaters, and this was going on when we had a pandemic going on. People were looking for that big escape, and Kong vs. Godzilla gave people that big escape. Now, as things went on, we also saw with Furious 9, they also had a chance to watch the movie on HBO Max, but they still went to the theater and made that movie a hit. But this movie, I believe, again, didn't open up at the right time, and I believe if the Suicide Squad had opened earlier, it probably would have racked up some fairly more decent numbers. Now, it could also be that the superhero movie genre is starting to wane, because after Avengers Endgame, people have not really had much interest in superhero movies like they did before, because the MCU at the height of its popularity was raking in billions of dollars because people wanted to see the end of the Infinity Saga. And now that the Infinity Saga is over, we're starting to see a little bit of a lack of interest in superhero films, because Black Widow this year opened extremely soft as well. And if the Suicide Squad is following a trend, it's looking like the superhero era of movies is just about to end, and we could be seeing the beginning of the end of the trend, because people in some cases could be ready to move on. So that could be another factor as to why the Suicide Squad wound up failing at the box office, because you could have an audience that is fatigued with superhero movies. I mean, we practically sat through a whole host of MCU TV series over the last few months, and a lot of them have been underperforming as well. So this could be another factor into why the Suicide Squad wound up failing at the box office, and it could be one of the reasons why many are again are losing interest, because after they got their payoff in Endgame, they are now looking towards something new to be entertained by, and this could be the beginning of the end of the superhero movie. So this whole Suicide Squad failing, again, it's really sad to hear this, because it was an absolutely fantastic movie. James Gunn did a really great job on this film. The performances were very strong. The directing was very strong. The visuals were very strong and very unique. And it's just really sad to see a really great film not be able to find an audience due to what I believe is poor timing, somewhat poor marketing, and being at the tail end of the popularity of a genre. Now, if you want to see me make more videos like this about superhero movies, comic books, science fiction, and fantasy, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. And if you want to pick up some of my action-packed SJS Direct fantasy fiction, like the ISIS series, the E-Steam series, the John Haynes series, and the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, you can find those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them on Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and ebook, The Man Who Rules the World. John Haynes must bring together men and gods to overcome a threat that seeks to destroy the planet. The Man Who Rules the World. Now available in paperback and e-readers everywhere.